My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, so I want to join the party with the Will I Buy It videos. I have filmed videos like this before. I called them Do I Want It? Because it was during my no buy year, and so the answer to the question will I buy it was a definite no, at least a no at that time. And I think I might still call it Do I Want It? Because on my channel and in my life, wanting something and planning to buy it aren't the same thing. And I feel like the more interesting question about this makeup is, do I want it? And then you guys will find out what I buy when you watch my monthly videos about the things that I chose to buy that month. So it's more interesting to me to talk about whether I'm drawn to something, whether I'm into it, whether I kind of want it, and then the question of whether I will actually buy it. That might come up once or twice today, but I feel like it will less frequently be the point of discussion. I've always wanted to film more videos discussing new makeup releases because I think it's really interesting. I think the thing that's been holding me back is time, because I feel like with only 3 uploads a week, I have other videos that I want to put into those slots, and I don't want to take time away from those videos to film extra videos like this one. So I'm trying to get used to the feeling of being more imperfect on camera, filming things more quickly, and editing them more quickly. So I'm going to try to do that with this video. I'm just going to talk about new releases for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to try to talk through. I'm going to try not to edit myself too much, and then I'm just going to upload it. I think that another thing holding me back from filming this kind of video more regularly is that I feel like there's already so much content of this nature. But recently when Angelica was here and we were filming together this video, I realized that there are so many releases that everybody can't cover everything. So likely as not, I'm going to be talking about things that other people aren't talking about in their Will I Buy It and vice versa. And one of the most interesting things about these videos, I find, is what people choose to talk about. And when I was filming with Angie, she had chosen all the things that we talked about that day. And there were a bunch of things she chose to talk about that I wouldn't have chosen. And there were a bunch of things that I wanted to talk about. Not that I wasn't like sitting there stewing, being like, I want to talk about it. But I would just have made a very different list. And that made me think that maybe I do have something to offer in my version of this video. And then of course there's the fact that my version of this video is always going to be heavily influenced by my perspective about the collection and the curation of makeup, and by what I learned from my no buy year, which is that the desire for everything, pretty much everything, even the most urgent desire, at least when it comes to makeup, eventually goes away. So most of these things, I'm interested in talking about them, but I'm not going to buy them. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So I have the Trend Mood 1 Instagram page up on my computer screen right in front of me, and I'm just going to scroll through starting at the top, which is the most recent, and just talk about whatever I want to talk about, and I'm going to try to go quickly. I could spend the whole 20 minutes talking about just one release. I'm going to try really hard not to do that. So at the top we have Kylie's new release. I talked about that in the video with Angelica already. It's pretty, but that's something that I don't even have to spend a moment questioning whether or not I want to buy. I just don't want it. I don't want it. The color story is pretty to me in kind of an abstract way. I don't want the eyeshadows. I don't want the palette. At this moment in my life, eyeshadows have to be truly extraordinary and special to make me even feel the beginnings of inklings of interest in owning them. Another thing that's right at the top here is the announcement about Haus Beauty, which is Lady Gaga's makeup line. And I recently read, I think I read in this post on Trend Mood, that it's going to be available exclusively on Amazon. And any interest, any vague interest that I had in what it is that she's going to release was severely dampened by that announcement. I feel like it really, really cheapens the brand. It makes it so clear that it's just about money, honestly. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Lady Gaga. Like I'm actually a Gaga. I'm not Gaga for Gaga, but I'm a fan. I think that her music video for the song Applause is one of the greatest music videos of the past 10 years, like a truly extraordinary work of art. I think Lady Gaga is special. I loved her cameo on Drag Race. I loved her on Untucked and behind the scenes of Drag Race. I mean, I think she's special. And so I've been interested in what she was going to come up with when it came to beauty. And this whole Amazon affiliation thing, just, it kind of threw a wet blanket over the whole project for me. Launching the brand through Amazon, having it only available on Amazon, it just seems kind of so uncreative and commercial and establishment. And I think of Lady Gaga as being highly creative and in some ways kind of elbowing out at the edges of what makes something commercial. Like, she kind of pushes the boundaries of commercialization. It's not that she's not commercial in certain ways, but she pushes it, you know? And I think of her as being somewhat anti-establishment as far as somebody who's as phenomenally famous and as phenomenally successful and wealthy can be. So it's a disappointment. And it's a little weird. Isn't it a little weird? It's a little weird. All right, Jeffree Star Jawbreaker stuff, no interest in that palette. I'm not gonna talk about Jeffree Star and my feelings about him because that would be its whole own video, but I don't own any makeup by him. This palette just looks so, so bad to me. And I don't mean that, like, if you love these colors together, you have bad taste, because your taste is your own and my taste is my own. And this is just not to my taste. I could see it working in a certain setting. I just can't with those colors. I feel like the color story is muddy and jumbled. And I just want to scroll right past it. e.l.f. limited edition skincare for summer, no interest. Urban Decay new foundation, no interest. I just don't, is it a foundation or concealer? I don't know what, I think it's foundation. I have all the base products I need. There's very rarely a new release of a foundation or a concealer that grabs my attention in any way, and this is no exception. Just scrolling right past it. Pat McGrath came out with a new kit of minis, which have always intrigued me whenever she comes out with those minis, because everyone sings the praises of her lip formula, and then the collection, the 3 minis, it seems like such a great deal. But I own 2 of the mini lipsticks, 2 red ones that my friend Wendy sent to me as a gift, and I love the formula, but I almost never reach for them because I don't like using those dinky little minis with twist up bullets. They're hard, it's hard to use, it's hard to apply. I always have to use a lip brush. It's like you might as well have given me a little smear of the lipstick in like a sample pot with a lid on it, for all that the bullet works as an actual bullet should, meaning that, like, it doesn't. You just can't use a lipstick bullet unless it's the proper size. So I look at that and I see like a toy with some sample product in it. I'm no longer interested in those sets of Pat McGrath minis now that I've gotten my hands on some of the actual minis. The Colourpop Lip Tints have grabbed my attention. One set in particular, it's the coconut one. Coconut's About You, the one with the browns, obviously. I don't know if I'm going to be placing a Colourpop order anytime in the near future, but if I were to, I would probably include that. But I've placed one Colourpop order recently, and it was the first one in months and months and months, and I wouldn't be surprised if I went another like 4 to 6 months before buying anything from Colourpop again, because that's kind of just how I roll. I'm not that into catching them all or trying one of each thing that they release. I'm just not that into it. Most of a Colourpop releases, I'm cool with just like letting it roll and pass me by, because my experience in the past has been they release things that are so timely that I really want to get my hands on. I get them, I try them, it's fun, but they almost never end up being my most cherished and most worn pieces of makeup. They almost never end up being that. And once I had cycled through enough Colourpop stuff to realize that most of them kind of go the way of the dinosaur for me after some months, it dampened my desire to always try them out. And I have a feeling that the allure of these lip tints is 98% their newness. Makeup by Jack palette with Revolution Beauty or whatever it is, Makeup Revolution. It's pretty, it's attractive, but I've never tried anything from Makeup Revolution, and I don't care to. Like, I don't want to. The brand just is not really on my radar. I'm not checking for them. And the fact that it's a collab doesn't make me check for it more at all. I just feel like I don't need more eyeshadow. If I were going to buy more eyeshadow, it wouldn't be from Makeup Revolution. KKW Beauty Body Makeup, no thank you. Morphe palette with a bunch of bronzes, no thank you. Although I do love a bronze, I don't love a giant palette from Morphe. What are these other things? Lime Crime Fluorescent Makeup, is that what that is? Lime Crime? No, it's a P. Louise Makeup Academy collab with someone, and they just made, oh, it's called Lime Light. That's why I saw it said lime. There's a really, really bright fluorescent thing, and I have no interest in that product. I don't even really know what it is. Fluorescent makeup, maybe I'll get into it, but I haven't really yet. Jury's still out, and I don't really own any. At this moment, I can't really see myself wanting to buy something fluorescent just because it's on trend in makeup. So it's fun to see it, like it's fun to see it popping up, but I have no craving for fluoro makeup. What are these? Tarte Mini Foil Finger Paint. The packaging just looks so bad. I can't tell if these are supposed to be like a potted version of their chrome paints. Maybe that is that, and I love the chrome paint formula from Tarte, so if that's what they've done, that's lovely. But I hate how they put the pans in this rectangular packaging, like boom, boom, boom. Why did they do that? Why? They could have done it in such a beautiful, symmetrical, interesting way, and instead that, and I hate that colorful, swirly background of the packaging, and the colors themselves are kind of boring. But to me, that's the lowest on the list of the reasons why I'm not interested in this. It just looks cheap to me. It looks cheap, and I don't think of Tarte as being cheap. KKW's new colorful, like she finally came out with colorful makeup, but it's just like a neutral warm tone palette, the likes of which we've been seeing for years and years and years. And in other ways, the release looks exactly the same as her releases always have. I actually think the aesthetic is beautiful. I think her aesthetic is beautiful in this makeup, not just this release, but all of her makeup. I love her packaging. I'm really into it, but in a totally removed and abstract way. Like I have no desire to own it, because I just feel like anything that I could do with any of those products, I can do 1,000 times over with the makeup that I already own. And you know how sometimes when you've never purchased from a brand, it's like you have sort of the gates are closed, and you haven't like popped the membrane of like between you and the brand. I think in a lot of cases, I want to keep that membrane in place. Like if there's a brand like Makeup Revolution or KKW that I've never purchased from, likely for good reason, whatever, I'm highly motivated to just keep not purchasing from them. Keep not finding out, keep not having the experience, keep not feeling the feelings. Just leave it. Leave it on the list of brands that I don't buy from. Not for any specific reason, but just, you know, there's just that list of brands I'm not checking for. I don't move brands from that list over onto the list of brands that I am checking for on purpose. Sometimes they get moved over. If they do something extraordinary, they'll move themselves over, but I'm not trying to move them over. I'm not over here trying to move them over. I'm over here trying to keep the membrane intact. Natasha-Nona's new mini palette. I love Natasha-Nona's mini palettes. I've talked about this a lot lately for some reason, but I own 3 Natasha-Nona palettes and I didn't purchase any of them. Oh, my drawer's open. They were all gifts. One was a Christmas gift, one was a gift from Lauren, one was a gift from Wendy, and the ones that Wendy and Lauren gave me had been theirs. Like they had purchased them for themselves and they decided that they didn't want to keep them anymore, and so they gave them to me. And then the one that Ellie gave me as a Christmas present was like a true gift that she purchased for me. Very, very special. But I would not have purchased any of those palettes myself. I wouldn't have spent that amount of money on a palette. I wouldn't do that right now. And so the mini palettes hold a lot of interest for me, because if I'd never gone on my no-buy, I could see myself having gone on to buy a bunch of Natasha-Nona mini palettes, because they started being released during my no-buy year. I do have the mini star. That was also a gift from Jennifer. And I would have bought that during my no buy year as soon as it released, and I would have bought a bunch of them. So I'm always kind of keeping an eye out for Natasha-Nona mini palettes that interest me, because that's kind of something I could see myself buying, but not this one. Not these colors. I just don't want it. I just don't want it. I mean, if I want to do a colorful blue, green, purple, or a shiny silver eye look, or silvery blue eye look, I have the eyeshadows with which to do that, and I almost never touch them. So I just don't want to buy this one. I'm not interested, but I think it's cool. I think it's cute. I think it's a cute, good release, I guess. And very on trend, very smart. Simply Nailogical's nail polish brand, cool, but I actually don't own any nail polish. I don't paint my nails at home, so I'm definitely not gonna buy any of those. Color Rain New Beauty Blender, no, I don't really buy beauty sponges. What else? Oh, I did want to touch on these BH Cosmetics palettes. Angelica and I talked about them already when we filmed the new makeup releases for her channel. We looked at the pictures, and ordinarily, again, I would have just elided right over this. I would have been like, eyeshadow from a brand I've never purchased from, no thank you. But the one palette really caught my attention when she was showing me the swatches, the arm swatches. It's the one called Beautiful in Barcelona, and it has the blues. And it's not just the blues, it's like it's the creamy metallics and that really rich terracotta red. It's just gorgeous. Like this is like a palette that I could have seen myself designing. Like the colors, everything about it, the colors and the textures, I'm into it. And I don't think I'm gonna place an order for this from BH Cosmetics unless it gets magnificently rave reviews. And even then, I kind of am tempted to keep that membrane in place. I've never purchased from BH. I've never owned anything from BH. Why start now? It's kind of how I feel. But I want it. Wait, what am I doing? Yes. Do I want it? Yes. Will I buy it? Probably not. Okay. Goodness gracious. Sorry. Joe came home unexpectedly, and then I was talking to him for a second, and then I realized that my mascara was running and I had to fix my eyeshadow, and everything got off track. Where were we? I keep scrolling past things because I'm not interested in them, and then I'm like, Hannah, the whole point of filming this video is to talk about why you're not interested in things. So I'll like briefly say that I'm not interested in buying a giant pan of highlighter from Jouer. It's a beautiful product, but I'd prefer to spend less and get a slightly smaller one, because it's not like their highlighters were minis, you know? They're just normal sized. And I have so much more highlighter than one person could ever use. So it just seems like a weird choice to me. I'm not interested in that. It's beautiful, but I'm just not interested in it. The new MAC formula, I'm not really a MAC person. I kind of skipped MAC. I just never really got into MAC. I owned maybe 1 or 2 MAC eyeshadows back in the day, but because of that, I'm not really compelled. And I kind of find their packaging a little bit, this is gonna sound so maybe weird, but a little bit dated. It just doesn't feel that fresh to me, even though they're releasing a new formula. And some of the colors are very beautiful. So the one called Bated Breath and the one called Coffee and Cigs, DGAF, La Femme, like the browns are all kind of calling to me, and they look really beautiful. I might swatch it in store if I ever see this formula in store, but I don't know, it's that same thing. It's like, I'm not checking for MAC, so I'm sort of idly interested in the fact that they are releasing a new formula. I've never owned a MAC lipstick, so that keeps me from caring very much about the fact that they're coming out with a new lipstick. Zoeva, this release looks beautiful. The picture on Trend Mood looks beautiful, but again, it's not a brand I've ever purchased from, so I always sort of just skim over what they're doing. Nars, on the other hand, that's a brand I'm very much checking for, and they are releasing cheek palettes for summer, more lip products for summer, and I don't want to buy any of it. I just don't want to. Nars, it's like they're losing me a little bit. They're losing my interest. I used to be such a Nars girl. I used to want everything that they released. And this stuff, even though there are browns, like there's a beautiful light brown lip gloss, I think right there. There are some beautiful browns in this satin lip pencil set. I don't even not want to buy it. I actually don't want it because Nars, I can't believe I'm saying this because internally I've defended them for so long. Every time everyone's like, Nars is getting boring, everything they do is boring. Inside of myself, I'm always like, yeah, but they're so classy and I love the packaging and the colors are always spot on and everything's just really luxe and they're the perfect brand for me. Like inside of myself, I've always just been like, you know, don't drop Nars yet, give them another chance. But I feel like they've bored me to death. Like they've bored me to the point of the death of our relationship. I still have hope. I would love for Nars to release something that I at least want. I'm not sure I would buy it at this point in my budget life, but I would love for them to release something that I want because I used to be really inspired by the colors and the formulas and the general aesthetic. This release I don't find inspiring. Sad. I think I'm gonna stop there. I feel weird. I feel like there's a bunch of stuff I didn't cover, but I think that that's just the name of the game with this kind of video. And I think that that feeling that there's more than you can ever cover and that it has to be kind of a massive behemoth of a video, that's one of the things that keeps me from doing this more regularly. So I'm just gonna stop there. I filmed, I talked, we got some footage, we had a little conversation. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section down below. I'm curious to know what you guys think and if you guys even care to have me keep doing this kind of video. My hope is that my slightly lackadaisical and I mean, I don't want to say overly critical position, but I guess like I'm coming from a point of view of probably not. You know, like every time there's a new release, my baseline is probably not, unlikely, probably not going to want it, very, very likely not going to buy it. I'm coming from that point of view in this video and with this stuff. And I'm always coming from that point of view with new releases. So my hope is that by filming this kind of video with that as my attitude, I mean, I'm not filming it with that as my attitude, but that is already my attitude. And so the fact that I have that attitude and that I'm filming this kind of video could potentially be helpful for those of you who are trying to be more critical of your own purchases and just rein yourself in a little bit and only buy the creme de la creme of makeup if you're even buying makeup at all right now. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.